Hi class, today's lesson is going to be over page 1 of section 6.2, inverse functions. So let's start with our standardized test practice problem. And it reads, let f of x equal x minus 3 and g of x equal x squared. Which of the following is equivalent to f of g of 1? So let's remember that we start with the inside and we take g of 1. So we take 1 squared, which is 1. Then we take f of 1, which would equal 1 minus 3 equals negative 2. And then we want to figure out which one of those is equivalent to f of g of 1. So let's see, how do we figure that out the best possible way? Let me get my notes. And what I should have recognized right off the bat is that once we got this output function that became the input function, this is what is equivalent, is f of 1. Okay, so what we're going to talk about on this first page are properties of inverses. So there's some steps involved, and what you do, I'll read this, but this may not make a lot of sense. Suppose f and f negative 1 are inverse functions. Then f of a equals b if and only if f of negative 1 of b equals a. So let's just delve right in and try this. The way you go about finding a function's inverse is this way. We're going to start with the function f of x equals 2/5 x minus 1/5. Our first step is to replace f of x with y in the original equation. So that would look like this. Y equals 2/5 x minus 1/5. Step 2 is to interchange x and y, which means that where there's a y, we're going to put an x, and when there is an x, we're going to put a y. Now we're going to solve it for y. So the first thing we would do would be to add 1/5 to the right side. And then, to solve for y, we would multiply everything by 5, and then divide everything by 2, or multiply everything by 5 halves, however you want to do that. So, let's see, we'd have 5 halves x plus 5 halves times 1/5 equals 5 halves times 2/5 y. All right, so this simplifies as 5 halves x plus 5 times 1 is 5, 2 times 5 is 10, 5/10 is plus 1/2 equals y. 4 equals our f inverse. So 2/5 x minus 1/5 is the inverse of 5/2 x plus 1/2. That gives us our y, or our inverse. Okay, so let's try another couple of examples. We replace f of x with y to start with. Now we interchange x and y. So we make it x equals 2/3 y minus 1. Add 1 to both sides, which would leave us with x plus 1 equals 2/3 y. Multiply both sides by 3/2, and I'm going to just distribute it through. So this would leave us with 3/2 x plus 3/2. Notice 6/6 would give you y. So the inverse is the left side, the 3/2 x plus 3/2. On C, start with rewriting the f of x as y equals 2x minus 3. Now interchange x and y, so we say x equals 2y minus 3. Add 3 to both sides, so x plus 3 equals 2y. Now divide both sides by 2, and we can see that our inverse is x plus 3 over 2. Okay, so the steps are not too hard. You replace f of x with y. That's your first step. Then you interchange x and y, and you solve it for y, and that gives you your inverse. Last one here, f of x, we're going to make y equals 1/4 x minus 2. Now interchange x and y, so x equals 1/4 y minus 2. Add 2 to both sides, so x plus 2 equals 1/4 y. And if we want to get rid of the 1/4, we're going to multiply both sides by 4. Keep in mind this is our inverse, and it is 4x plus 8. So now you've learned to find the inverse of certain functions, and tomorrow or on the next page, next time what we'll do is we'll test to see if two different equations are inverses of each other. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, have a great day. I hope that you find that these are pretty easy to do. See y'all next time.